Hi guys, here we are playing, yeah, probably Justin can explain a bit more.
It's the Stanley Parable, and we've basically driven the narrator crazy so far, I believe.
I also already finished the thumbnail, so yeah. A day later for me, 3 days later or a week later for you guys, but it's already there, so doesn't matter that much. Sexy, times we put game, but don't take it seriously, but when you look at love a couple day, I'll appreciate that, attention. Oh, time is setting correctly. Let's make a deal. You have cooperated next time we put out the game sheet asking. Just set the time to your favorite time. Go ahead, pick whatever you want. Uh, like, okay, what the fuck?
Yeah, like if you set the time to your favorite time next time round, you will allow it.
What the fuck?
This is the story of
Welcome back. With the game and start again. So, okay, I did really quit, but
all of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
oh, no, it's still the same. You have to turn on.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
No, the PC still off. Okay. Okay, so
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly
we're
well.
going again.
Perhaps he wanted
Ignoring
to
the
stop by
left
the
war.
Employee Lounge first, just to admire it.
This is how I titled the little art I made.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
And we going straight.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot.
I'm really a
I'm
dickhead,
not your
bro.
enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time.
All this time.
Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you
Yes.
that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why?
Yes.
I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Blue door.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood.
Red
Stanley
door.
walked. Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time? The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I want it to stop. We would both be so much happier if we just stopped. And I think I have a solution. Here, let me show you.
Doors.
What do we want? What are we looking for? Here. Yes. Oh,
Welcome
it's
to the
beautiful,
peaceful
isn't
area.
it? If we just stay right here. No, wait. Where are you going? Oh, no. Stay.
Yeah, we're not going to that shit again.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Simply missed a memo. Hey, there's the thing again. Now it showed. Oh.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers. When Stanley came to a set of two
What
open
happens
doors,
if you go to the
he
left?
entered the door on his left.
But try to go down, and there's some staircases, I think, that you eventually come across.
Sure, why not?
Because I think you've exhausted everything to the right-hand side now.
No, there's one thing
Yet
left.
there was not a single
Is
person
there?
here either.
Yeah.
Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
No.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in
He
such
might
a
be fired for
competitive
that.
economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment.
He's
for no
really
reason
not
at
happy
all.
with you now, bro.
None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying.
Blah, blah,
began
blah,
to
blah,
gently
blah.
float above
We
the
get it, we're
ground.
going in Sage. Just
Then
hurry
he
the
up.
hell?
Oh,
imagined himself
now you're
soaring through
floating.
space on a magical star field, and it too appeared. It was so much fun.
And there you're in
Stanley marveled
space.
that he'd still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner.
Oh, now
Why
we're flying
is there
anymore.
a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking?
Exit.
Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself? Believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just...
How many times have you done the
He would
loop
prove
by
that he
now?
was in
I
control,
lost count.
that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up.
What the hell?
He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
I was lost.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real.
Everything is turning
real.
red.
Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
What? It just
This
happened.
is the story of a woman named Mariella.
What?
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
His co-workers are gone.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
My goodness. Hey, changed again. And that spot that I already had left the last time. Bibbidi. Up. Justin.
You found the new content.
Should we?
Do you want to go in there, or do you want to do you want to continue trying to go down the left-hand path?
New content? What does that mean? New content.
I don't know. What is the new content?
Oh, the new content is basically a whole new game.
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh!
As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers.
Thank you.
The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content. Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure.
Prepare for your mind to be even more blown than it was before.
Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it.
Let's do it!
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley. All right. All right, let's
Oh,
see
you get
it.
to jump!
A
The
jump
jump
circle?
circle! But only in that jump circle, by the way. Oh no, don't waste it! Don't waste it! Don't! You're actually gonna use it up?
Is that it? Surely that's not
Exactly
all
at the last one.
content. There has
Stop.
to be something else, right? Goodness. Another elevator.
You were not expecting that,
Stanley,
huh?
I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content?
Were you expecting that I was doing that, bro?
No, not at all.
Dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And if... Oh, wait. There's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is. That's it? Oh, you can't be kidding me, you see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's trophies, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test trophy, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up
Twitter
too
is
much
X now, and
anticipation around the new
yeah,
content,
what I heard
I'm
from
afraid.
X is
They
like
could
going
never
to be
have lived up to
shit.
such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game, and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
Oh. I guess no option. Erp. Justin.
Hmm?
The game reset it. But
You're in a different area. He's given you so you can follow him through that
Come over
vent,
here.
or you can
In
continue
the
forward.
vent. I want to show you something.
should I?
Up to you, bro.
I'm going. Have that. Have that.
Oh, you don't want to see the cool surprise I made for you? Well, fine. You're a dork anyway, so who cares?
I'm not a dork. Dork. New content. That's closed.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly
I
well.
want to see one more.
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
See if it changes.
Yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Nope.
Stanley was
One
so
last
bad at
time, because
following
there's
directions,
that one
it's
red door
incredible he
he
wasn't
said
5
we had to
years
follow.
ago.
Beginning.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not.
I'm not.
I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but... What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others?
Yes.
Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you?
Yes.
Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Okay.
Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time? The problem is all these choices. The 2 of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here.
Okay. We know this. Bye. Okay.
Stanley, come over here.
He really wants us to come in.
I want to show you something.
What do you want to show us?
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past, and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it.
It's Skyrim!
Just our
Wait, no,
little
never mind.
secret. Take a look.
It feels like Skyrim.
I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC. You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap PlayStation port? Remember back in October of 2013?
Cheap PlayStation
When the game
ports.
originally launched.
We're playing it on
Back then,
PlayStation.
video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
Oh my god. Hey! Oh.
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art. Stanley Parable
Memories,
strives
right?
and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
Yes, we so want badly elevator content.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games, and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need
Why is
anything
9
else.
out of 10?
It didn't need new content. All they had to do was transport it in pristine
Well, they can't all be
condition along to the
perfect, right?
PlayStation. Boom, done. And they couldn't even do that.
They can't all
Couldn't
be
resist the
perfect,
urge to go
Skulls.
meddling with a beloved franchise.
Why are the boxes? It says serious room, but I cannot move. It wants me to go there, but I can't.
Well, look for another area that you can
These
get
were
to, I
simpler
guess.
times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here? Oh no, oh God, no, Stanley. It's a collection of reviews from Pressurized Gas, the extremely popular online storefront for computer games. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they? Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them. Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley, I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did. But maybe it wasn't. Oh dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks are my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling. What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the
The
customers.
negative
Yes,
comments.
a skip button we
Oh
shall
no!
And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature...
I'll see you guys next time. Have a nice day, have a nice week, and see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Peace.